Hey guys, welcome to another fun and exciting iMight GT7 stream. This is the Manufacturers Cup at Interlagos, round one of the 2024 mid-season exhibition round. I previously was in GT1 with my main account, but yeah, didn't do so well, dropped off into a B, so I did try to get back to an A, but it was too difficult with the daily at Nürburgring, so I'm back to a B for now. Not top split of the Group B, so it looks like I've dropped a bit, so shouldn't be too hard this race, hopefully. Number one on my door, and I did a few test runs with different cars and found that the Volkswagen was pretty fast, and its fuel was okay and its tyre wear was okay, so I've selected Volkswagen. It's Group 3 for the next 4 weeks, and most of the tracks I like. I've just got to check the Tokyo East circuit, see which one that is. But here we are, Interlagos, starting last as per usual. I actually have resigned from my job. It was getting too much for me and I've resigned, so I've got a bit of time up my sleeve at the moment. So once this came out, took me a few days to decide. Tried to get into a GT1, realised I'm not doing it. So Friday night, or Friday, I selected to enter this with Volkswagen as a Group B racer. Now, it's hard and soft. I thought that was a bit weird, but it's made it quite interesting. So my strat is 1 lap on hard and 19 laps on soft. Obviously I've done some tests and the softs can get to the end. My setup on my car is traction control 2. Actually, I think you may have seen, I think I put traction control to 3 because I'm on hards. I just didn't want to spin the car. Anyway, so in general, it will go back to traction control 2. Brake balance 5 to the rear to protect the front tyres. Active stability management on and counter steer on strong. So I'm pulling into the pits now. That was 1 lap on hard. And now I'm going to pull in and put softs on. Take your time, there's no rush. Don't make any mistakes, plenty of fuel. So what's that, 13th? So really, again, the plan is that the tyres can do the 19 laps. So I wanted to get well away from people and then start doing the catch up. And then near the end of the race, people will pit, and I should be up. This is the undercut. Pretty much got a clear track as I wanted. Hopefully the people up front are tripping over each other. So the guy in P13, Gamoham, and the guy in P15, so they've had a bit of bad luck. I think they're both on hards anyway, so... But you can see Gamoham right in front of me here, and I've already done my pit stop, so not really looking too good for him. I did wonder about how I would perform in this race, considering I had door number 1. I think it was in the lineup. That's when I saw the door number and I thought, oops. I think yeah, having been in GT1 has helped me out a bit, I think. Like I said, racing against... no, this is just a... Gotta be joking, Ferbs, V-Man. Has helped improve my race. And we're back at Interlagos. That's when we all pretty much, you know... Well, I gelled with them in that race with the... that was Nations with the Ferraris. So the guy in P15, he's now pitting 2 laps in, which, I don't know, each to their own. But most of the people up the front are on softs. And I just get the feeling if you start on softs and you're battling, your tyre's going to wear, and then you're going to be pitching on lap, I don't know, 14, 15. Way too early. And then the hards, I would imagine most people didn't even really consider the hards. Practicing during the week just on the softs to see how fast they can go. And some of them just look like they really struggle on the hards. So not in the best position here now. I like this guy, Gilmore Ham. And yeah, I'm a bit too close to him. Struggling there. I think he's on hards as well. I think he started, I don't know, let's say 10th, and he turn 1. I think just everyone slowed down and he just gunned it a bit and spun the car. So back to P13. And this is to the end. Wasn't 100% sure how well the I'm pretty sure, no, it was this one where I practiced for the tyres. So yeah, I was reasonably confident that the tyres would make it, but from practice to an actual race, and when I say practice, I mean I even try to get the weather correct so that I'm not practicing on a cool track and this one's hot, causing a lot of wear. I haven't been around for a while if you're curious. Luckily for me, not long after the final rounds and in between Toyota Cups, my headset died, as in the cable between the controller and the headphones, and I could hear but I couldn't speak. I was trying to work out exactly what was going on. I worked out it pretty much was the cable, so I bought myself a new headset and I'm back up and running. So occasionally through the race you might see me just checking my settings. Sometimes when you know what your settings are and you set your car up and you check at the beginning of the race, but when I'm under pressure, I must admit I become slightly paranoid, and if my car begins to slide and slip, then I begin to wonder, are my settings absolutely correct? I kind of forget that I checked at the beginning of the race, and sometimes when I'm checking, I'm not actually confirming, I'm just having a look. So if the car's not performing, then I think maybe it was incorrect and I just looked but didn't acknowledge it was wrong. Anyway, so really catching up the cars now. To P12. A lot of these guys, I don't even know if... Oh, sorry, the guy in P15 has pitted. I think we're the only two. That was an easy pass. I think he let me go there. I do wonder whether or not the Australian flag sort of throws him a bit, thinking maybe we're all rough. Like I said, I've tested a number of cars, and during the week you could see one of the favourites was the Mazda Vision, so I tested that one. Can't remember what the other car was, but there were two cars, and then the Volkswagen, and I think ultimately the Volkswagen felt better, and its lap time was the fastest. Tyre wear was similar, fuel was similar. So, and since it's just Group 3, I like the Sirocco, but just Group 3. And looking at the other tracks, so there's this one, Interlagos, then there's Maguri, Tokyo East, and I've forgotten the last one, but or topless, which I like. So I like this track. I like Maguri. I like all topless. You see there, I've just hit that guy, so I backed off to let him go. And watching the replay, he actually does it to V Lamb a couple of laps down the track and does exactly the same. Hits V Lamb and then just backs off, lets him go, and then passes similarly to me around here. In case you're curious, V Lamb, I didn't even know who it was until I clicked the square button. You can see their original names. That is Rugworth, who I've had a run-in with him, let's say 2-3 years ago. Some names you just never forget. You know, you see the name, you go, oh yeah. But he, to me, it's like he's a different person now. He seems to behave in this race. So we're at lap 7 and the tyres are looking good, the racing softs. And watching the replay, I was sitting down watching with my daughter today and saying, watch this, I'm catching up, watch me go for a pass. So I can only guess these, I mean, I only did one lap on hard, so my tyres should have the same wear as them if they're on softs. Or they're on hards and they're starting to wear and they're struggling on the hards anyway. So just biding my time, being patient, having confidence in this car. And a bit of contact here. I think he didn't realise I was there and he wants to pit. To me, if you want to pit, you should really stick to the inside. Say, go around me. So up into P10 with a 2.5, I think it is, second gap. And you watch that slowly coming down, so I'm pushing pretty hard. And I'm pretty sure, I mean everyone changes, but I'm pretty sure my driving has changed a lot since I first started, mainly my gearing, going into corners. So you watch here, I'll go down to first, I think, second. And I'm using those gears like a brake, of course, like you normally would in a manual car, rather than just staying second and relying on the brakes. So having said that, I think if you watch my brake inputs, they're not as aggressive because I use the engine. Yeah, it's pretty hard there, but only momentarily. There always seems to be a car that I'm catching up to. And most of the people, let's say from P9 to P1, wouldn't have seen me pit at all, so they're probably unaware that I have pitted yet. And likewise, I don't know whether or not everyone in front of me has pitted. So it's a bit of a guessing game, but you can almost feel it with the speed difference. So if I'm kind of, I guess what I'm saying is I'm hoping people haven't pitted. And near the end of the race I'll start to see a lot of people pitting, and that's when the undercuts will come in. It's a bit of a side-by-side battle with this guy, which was pretty good. You know, I feel like I've got past, and then he'll get up the inside, and then a bit more side-by-side. Now, I don't know if you realise what happened there. 3-second penalty for what? While I'm focusing on this guy around me, there were yellow flags. And I've overtaken that guy while there were yellow flags. I only know that because I saw it. Like, I'm thinking, what was that for? And I saw overtaking during yellow flags. Yeah, I wasn't happy. But that's my fault. That's something I've got to learn. You know, I guess when you see yellow flags, you're expecting a car to be off track. They're coming back on. They're ghosted. So the level of caution, it's almost a nice to know attitude that I've had. Or, you know, an opportunity coming up. And I forget about the things about you're not allowed to overtake. But I was so focused on the guy who's now in front that I misinterpreted the yellow flag. I don't even think I was aware of yellow flags, and that's all on me. So I've paid a 3-second penalty, and yet it doesn't seem to be that far in front. Sometimes the timing of the main screen and the small screen, bottom right, are a little bit out of time, and I think it's when I record the bottom right hand screen, little snippets will get taken out, or it's the opposite where snippets of the actual main race, I think it is the main race, little bits don't get recorded, so the timer bottom left, you'll see it jump by 3 seconds. And when I'm trying to line these up, usually what I do is in the pit stop, I'll get let's say the guy is getting down to grab the tyre, I'll get things to line up there. And then sometimes I'm happy with it. I've lined it up, everything's cut, and commentate over it, and I post it. And then I realise the end of it is no way near in line. It's because there's bits that have been cutting out. There was one race in the past I wanted to stream, and it was so bad I just couldn't do it. Anyway, back to the race. So P8. See, I've missed that. Maybe is the guy who I got a 3-second penalty alongside. I'm assuming he's pitted. I'm yakking away a bit too much. So at this point, I'm getting near the sharp end of the lineup. So V Lamb, who is Rugworth. So he's now pitting from soft. So he's only done 11 laps on soft. And he's going to do 9 on hard. Whereas I've done 1 on hard, 19 on soft. Now he's got he'll be coming out the pits now. Look how far away he is. There he is. Warming up his tyres. For me, he's a classic example of someone who hasn't really had a feel of the hard tyre. I must admit, I didn't do a hell of a lot. Only checking lap times. So I did 2 laps. 2 or 3 laps. To see whether or not the hards were pretty close. But they were pretty bad. They're like 1.5 seconds slower. But I get the feeling he's a classic example of probably never actually hopped on the hard tyre, not realising how bad it is. I remember when I was coming around turn 3, he was coming out the pits, he was pretty much down the end of the straight, and within 1 lap I'm right on his backside now. I can't remember where he started, but he was lucky enough to get up near the front. I think P3 within the race. May have started P5, I'm not too sure. But he's, yeah, dropped back to P7. And this move of his, to me, is not the best. Too many laps on the hard. And I do notice a lot of people with maybe just traction control. And the way they're driving, it's like they've got traction control 1 only. And they just lose grip at certain points. Like there. I don't think he lifts there, but I think he just really stays a bit wide. I've watched that 2 or 3 times. And that's what I'm talking about, Rugworth, where it was just being nice. Wasn't trying to dive in and block and hold. I think he knew I was catching him pretty hard. And realises he's in trouble on these hards. So up into P6 now. P1, P2 and 3 on soft, so they've gone a little bit further, but still that's not great. Finishing lap 13, so 7 laps to go. And I'm watching my tyres. They're looking good. But the more they wear, the more I slide, the more wear that occurs. So I do have to be a little bit careful. Now I did say I was on traction control 3 at the beginning of the race. Then when I put the softs on, I decided I'd leave it until the tyres warm up a bit. I'm sure I did go back to traction control 2. Guys, if you're watching, don't ever be ashamed. You know, it's like trainer wheels, but it's, to me it is, but it isn't. I test the car I'm in, and if I spin the car, I'm going to lose 20 seconds. If I put traction control on, I'm going to lose 4 seconds. Which one do I want? Look at the control I've got of this car. So up into P5. And there are little moments where I feel the car just understeer a little bit, but that's pretty much it. Like a corner like that, this one here, I could easily spin the car. Now, to me, as someone like me, I guess I'm a bit of a lead foot. To overcome that, I would need the best equipment that is super sensitive and, you know, can accommodate my rough inputs. P4, so Aussie has pitted off his softs and going on to hard, I would assume. So now P4, 3 guys in front of me, of course, and I'm watching the split time as I'm racing, and that 3.7, mainly on these little tight corners, cars that have been out for a while, or they're on hards. I have been out for a while, of course. Seem to slow down in this area. On the straight up here, certain cars will improve and just pull away a touch, but get back into the tight twisty areas and they struggle. Now we're down to 2 point something, so I'm sure he's seeing that as well. And I just can't believe that I started last and the other 3 or 4 guys were in the mix, and I'm actually leading all the Australians / New Zealanders. And I'm pulling away from V Lamb, who is Rugworth, on his hards. So 5 laps remaining, and so I've got still quite a bit of time. My front right is on its way out, but still looking like it's going to make the distance. That slowing down there on that corner, I'm just slightly revving. I can't remember what happened. I'm probably looking at the split times or whatever. I'm looking at things, I'm a bit distracted, so my timing is thrown out a touch. I'm really catching them now. P1. Oh, again, I missed out. He's probably coming off his softs. Lap 16. And putting the hard tyres on. But P1's in a Mercedes, and he's miles ahead. So he's out of the pits now. He's going down that second straight. I'm just focusing on A, P3, catching. Looking getting a bit loose there, and then I look up and it's Gammerham is behind me by what, 10 seconds. So something's happened with Rugworth v Lamb. So 4 laps to go now, and I've got to negotiate my worn tyres past the guy who, I guess at the time, I'm not fully sure where he's at with his tyres. And possibly I'm hoping that the top 3 still have to pit, because during the race I probably missed them pitting. And you'll see occasionally I'll pick different lines to try and throw this guy off. That was an attempt that I realised wasn't going to work, so just ride the bump and let him go. Trying to get a really good exit out here. He wants to go wide. To me it's like they want to suck you into going too far out there, off track, and get a penalty. And I ain't buying it. I'll just take the tighter inside line. Here we are, he's moving around a bit. I didn't want to dive bomb. I'm hoping he will just overshoot, but he's done alright there. Here's where I'm picking again the zig and the zag. Zagging, now I'm going to zig. I'm hoping this car will sort of drift out a bit. Tiny touch there. I think it's a bit cheeky of me. Not intentional, but I have made contact. Tiniest contact, but it's caused his wheels to slip, lose a bit of momentum, and that's got me past. I guess at the time, all I focus on is, have I knocked you off track? If I haven't knocked you off track, it's not the worst. And now I just need to get away from him. And then I can see P2. So I'm just holding the lower gears just to rev the engine out. Starting to feel the tyres a bit. And pulling away from Rin and P4. It's funny, P2 didn't look that far away, but now on the straight it looks quite far away. So what's that, 2 laps to go. Look how much meat I've got on that front right. pretty much had faith that front right would make it for 1 and a bit laps, 1.5. But I guess I did wonder if it went totally red, and I've got traction control 2 on, how will it handle? Personally, I don't think it would handle too bad. It's quite evenly balanced, this car. Having said that, the front right is wearing a lot, like it's taking most of the load. So not feeling too hopeful with catching P2, but feeling a bit more comfortable with the distance between me and P4. I always say, guys, if you're manufacturer mainly, season opens up, have a look at the tracks. If they're all different, you need to pick 1, 2 or 3 tracks and just practice every car. That's what I normally will do if I got time. Usually I'll team up with someone like Big Bruce the Shark or have fun. Get them to do some testing. I'll do some testing. And I think it's in the lobby system. I'll run a car out and just hit option and let it auto drive. Do 1 solid lap, have a look at the excessive tyre wear and the fuel consumption and the lap time. Because if I drive it, first of all I get bored. Secondly, my driving might be different. If you hit option to go into auto drive, to me it should be automated, and then you can, out of 12, 14 cars, manufacturer cars, you can nut it down to the top 3, looking at fuel, lap time and tyre wear. And then when it comes time to enter and actually sign up with the manufacturer, you consider the tracks. So I ran a number of cars, and Volkswagen looked pretty good for this track, so I'd imagine it'd be the same for Meguri, Autopolis, and hopefully Tokyo East. So I don't think I did too bad. Starting P15, getting all the way up to P3. I was car number 1 on my door. So yeah, 15th to 3rd, up 12 places. Hopefully enjoyed the stream, guys. Looking forward to seeing your streams, and see you in the next one. Bye for now.